Welcome again. We have Kieron Sweeney here today. He's an international speaker. He owns Breakthrough Entrepreneur Academy, MacCreators.com, and Lead Gen Apps. He has been an entrepreneur for 28 years and has sold over 50 million in products and services. And his passion is helping entrepreneurs reach seven-figure revenues. So let's meet Kieron Sweeney. Kieron, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. How are you?
I'm doing really well, and I'm very excited about our conversation here and what I'm going to learn from you and what our listeners are going to learn from you.
Awesome.
So tell me, what's your story? Why are you doing this? Where did all this begin?
Well, like most entrepreneurs, and most people, when they find their passion in life, they end up going through some kind of challenge in life before they actually discover what their true passion is. And I always teach people to, look at the down parts of your life, and you're probably going to find your passion, because it's in those moments and those depths of hitting human reality and experiences that we start to realize, you know what, if I can get through this, I can get through anything. I can help others get through it as well. So I think that's how we all become successful in our field, is when we just really look at what it took to get to where you are today. So I was 28, working a 9-to-5 job. I actually was in international relations. I did my degree in international affairs and loved international relations and working in politics. And I had a great journey in that 5 years, working overseas, doing some really, really great work. But I decided I didn't want to be a career bureaucrat, so I decided to start a business. I had no business experience whatsoever. So I found this product, actually have it right here. It's a ski product, and it's a little device that you, I'm a skier, I love skiing. It's a little device that you wrap around your skis above and below the bindings. You put your poles through these two little holes that are cut in the strap, and you carry it over your shoulder. So I took it to ski shows, and I sold a whole ton of them. And after earning over $500,000 in revenue, in 1991, I ran into a recession. A lot of my clients were starting to bounce checks and missing payments, and all of a sudden it started to impact my business. So I ended up being about 150 grand in debt. Revenue went basically down to zero, and I was in trouble. So I had to basically, at age 31, move back home with my mom and dad.
Whoa.
Big L on my forehead. So it took about 2 years to really get my life back together. But what happened was, I got invited to an evening seminar preview, and it was led by Bob Proctor. And he spoke for about an hour, and I was really impacted by what he was saying, because he was talking a lot about the mind, the way the mind works, and the way we have patterns of behavior, and once we become aware of them, we can correct things. And he invited everyone to a seminar for a week, and I attended that seminar, and it just completely shifted my thinking and who I was. And I started to realize that I was running certain patterns of behavior, and while some patterns were creating a lot of success, other patterns were creating problems. Mm-hmm. So it's the same as what Tony Robbins teaches. It's just reframing and repatterning, and just how you respond to things in a different way. So within 2 years, I had completely eliminated debt, became financially free, and within 8 years became a millionaire. And I simply did this because I started to think differently. Yeah. And 28 years later, I'm still working on thinking differently, because it's not a quick fix. It's you're always working on it. And even anytime I talked to Bob, he said, I still have to read 30 minutes a day of my positive thinking materials. So, So that's how I got started. Is I became a student of the personal development and business training industry. And as I built businesses, I had a food export business, and I got into selling software. And I really learned a lot of my skills through just attending seminars. And then eventually I decided that I was going to start to teach seminars. So about 1999, I started to teach some motivational and training with Bob and got to work with him. And then in 2006, I was recruited to become a speaker and a trainer with one of North America's largest seminar companies. So for 5 years, I was a lead trainer. I taught all over the world and had a really great experience. And that's how I was able to, bring those sales numbers up to 50 million, because I was working with a large company that sold high-priced seminars. And I was just very good at training and engaging people and helping people, show them a path where they could, impact their lives. So then I left that, and about a year and a half ago, I started my own company. I don't really refer to it as a seminar company, but I call it more of a training academy. And I specifically work with small groups with entrepreneurs and help them make their dreams come true and help them become more successful.
Well, that's awesome. And you know what? I really, really appreciate that you share with us how your personal development helped you, make those sales, get out of that, become a millionaire. I think that people really, really need to understand what's important is you more than, right, the strategies. Yes, it's great to have great strategies, which you're teaching, but I know you're also teaching personal development. You're doing both. And I think that's so awesome, because that's what people need. Doing it both. And I know I'm preaching the same thing. There's a lot of us that are preaching these things, but it's what works. At the end of the day, it's who you are, right? That's what brings you success.
It does. And we have to remember that there's two things that are really in control in a human being. It's the mind and the heart. Mm-hmm. And the biggest challenge for most people, the biggest distance for people to follow or to walk, to make that walk, is the 18 inches from the mind to the heart. And if you start to really connect and become more of a heart-based person, follow your heart, really tune in with your emotions and your intuition, you're going to find that what's happening here is far more powerful than what's up here. I find this the detriment. I find that the mind is actually what's taking most of us out. And, I was conditioned in a certain way. I was raised in a working class family. I was raised in a Catholic family. I was raised in, just my parents are Irish descent, and they had a certain way upbringing. And of course, that's what they were taught. So they taught it to me. So I was brought up in a very different mindset. And for me to break out of those conditionings, I had to really take a look at myself. So I studied with some great thought leaders, and just Jack Canfield and Leyland Van de Waal, Lee Poulos, Bernie Dorman. I mean, just really got to meet some great thought leaders, and it just helped me. And I actually recently wrote a book. I'm launching it very soon. It's called Thoughts. And it's really just all about the power of thoughts, and it'll be on Amazon really soon. But it's 20 years of my experience and all the things I've learned, and how we can utilize our thoughts, because thoughts are just energy. And if we understand how powerful thought is, then we can do anything with it. You could channel, everything's focus and intention. And if you just channel your mind, led by the heart, of course, to what you want to create, you can create it. It will manifest. Absolutely.
I totally agree. I study a lot of this material and teach as well. And I can absolutely assure people that that's absolutely true what you just said. Our thoughts create everything. So be very careful what you're thinking about, because what you're thinking about all day long, that's what you become.
That's right.
So thank you for sharing that. And please let me know, I saw on your website that you basically double people's income, or help them double their income in 90 days. So how do you do that?
Yeah, so I know I say it like that, but it's the entrepreneur that doubles their income. So my clients double their income. I just show them some simple things, really, but just doing certain things in a certain way and doing it differently. But here's where it all comes down to. Most people aren't selling. And there's this interesting dynamic or paradigm with entrepreneurs, is they want to be in business because they find something they love. They think it's going to help thousands of people. And I always ask the question, how many of you have a product or service that you believe can help thousands of people and help impact thousands of lives in a positive way? And everybody puts up their hand. Yeah. And so I say, so why are you struggling? The reason they're struggling is because they're not selling. They're not promoting. And then, so what I do is I dig down deep into their mindset and conditioning about why they're not selling. And I unroot the problem, and I switch them, reframe their thinking, reframe that mind file, and boom, all of a sudden they're making money. And so a lot of my clients have doubled within 90 days. Some have tripled.
Wow.
And I have people that have never sold in their life, out there selling, creating joint venture partnerships. I mean, and for some people, it's like going from 5 figures to 6 figures is like a huge jump, but they do it. But for some people, it's like going from 0 to 30,000 in their first year. They're so thrilled. I have this one client, you know, she's married to her husband's successful stockbroker. She doesn't need to make a lot of money, but she's more about her passion. And she said that to me, I'm not really here to make money. I'm here just to fulfill my passion and to help people create miracles in their lives. But the byproduct is she makes more money because I'm showing her how she can help more people. And I think, you know, it's just like what you're doing. I mean, you're providing a great podcast to impact people and provide information so that people can, you know, implement it in their lives. So we're all here to help other people. It doesn't matter what your product is. You know, a product or a service is designed to solve another person's problem. That's all it is.
Yeah. So can you tell me what's the difference, let's say, if somebody's making 5 figures, and then they want to make 6, or from 6 to 7, what's the shift that needs to happen in them to be able to make that jump?
First thing is they got to get really clear on, is this the passion? Is this their life? Are you doing this to make money, or are you doing this because it's your passion? And if you're really clear it's your passion, then you're going to hit 6 figures and you're going to hit 7 figures. Because if you're not totally passionate about it, you're not going to put the time and effort into it. Your mind's going to create excuses to take you out. It's going to stop you. It's going to find interruptions. It'll, you know, it's like, you know, when you're supposed to be selling, you're selling. You're focused on selling. The phone rings and it's a friend calling to say, call you after 6 or whatever. You have to be disciplined and you have to be structured. And I teach my clients a very structured, disciplined way to manage their lives, to manage their day, to make sure that they do it. And they hold themselves accountable. We have accountability teams, and it's not hard, you know, it's really simple. But if you don't practice it, it's like anything. You have to follow a system or a structure to make success happen. And so, but the real thing is, as I get them trained to sell better, and let's look at that word. That word "sell" often has a negative connotation to people, which is the underlying root of why they're not selling. But let's forget it. Let's not call it selling. Let's call it just educating people with information on a product or service you have. Would you like to buy it? Or I'm just going to share the information. I'm going to put it out there, and those that are interested are going to find it, and they're going to buy it. Because, you know, most people who are buying have already made a decision they're going to buy it. It's just whether they're going to buy yours or somebody else's.
Yeah, that's right. That's so true. And so that's what you do. But I also know that you're basically, if I may reframe a little bit what's on your website, raising influencer or teaching them how to be key influencers in their field. Is that different than sales? And how is it different? What's the process?
It's all part of sales. So that's marketing and branding. So to become a key person of influence, you have to become a very good speaker and a presenter. You have to engage people. You have to publish as much as you can, publish articles, publish books, publish as much as you can. I teach people to create, like, we have a course called Write It in 30, Publish in 90. And we get everyone publishing a book, 70-page book, get it published. It doesn't have to be a complicated book. It doesn't have to be your life masterpiece. Most people aren't publishing their book because they're putting it off because they want to create this, big 200-page, 50,000-word book. You don't need that. All you need to do is get a short book out there that covers content and information that's relevant to people so it engages them. So that's part of becoming a key person of influence, is publishing. Media, getting on TV, branding yourself on the internet, YouTube channel. I mean, more content you can get out there, you're just going to start to show up as an expert. And people who are influential are experts and authorities. And I mean, look what the millennials are doing. I mean, this is interesting about what's happening in the internet world. Is all of a sudden you've got guys coming out who are like 28 years old, and they're like creating success on the internet because they can. I mean, you can create an image and people are believing it. Now, I'm not condoning that, but I'm just saying that, you know, if you are authentically an expert in something, and most of us are, we just don't admit it. But, you know, if you've made 10 mistakes in your business, you're an expert because you can show people how not to make those 10 mistakes in their business. So, but we all have an expertise. We're all authority figures in a specific area. And it's just a matter of positioning yourself out there, branding yourself so that people find you. And especially in today's world, because, you have to position yourself on the internet so people find you versus you constantly hunting. So.
And you know what, you mentioned something that really kind of stand out to me. You said everybody's an expert, right? It's whether they need it or not. And did you notice that people actually have problems believing in themselves, and that's why they're really not doing what they could actually do? And how do you help them overcome that?
People who don't believe in themselves, you can take this one to the bank. And if you really delve down into this, you're gonna understand that this is the root with most people. I'm not good enough. Mm-hmm. People have challenges meeting people in relationships because there's a I'm not good enough file running. They have challenges with dealing with business and putting deals together and negotiating and selling because there's a file running. I'm not good enough. There's people have challenges with their family because I'm not good enough. So this I'm not good enough file seems to be running in most people's minds. So I was the same way. You know, when I discovered it, it was I'm not good enough, and it tied back to all the things I had heard as a kid growing up from teachers and influencers and other things, and then it just becomes a recording that's running in your mind and you're not aware of it. And what that leads to is the need for approval. So one of the reasons I became really good at selling is because I had a need for approval. When I sold, I felt better.
What a motivator.
Yeah, what a motivator. But I also had a need for approval by spending money. And it took me years to really figure that one out. So now I just, I spend only on marketing, and of course I live a decent life, but I don't overspend on that. And I also invest in myself, and I invest in investing. Wealth is grown through investing. And this is a big thing, entrepreneurs. I wrote a book called Life's Golden Buckets. It's a free download, lifesgoldenbuckets.com. And it talks about how to simply manage your money. And if you can get into a discipline of investing 10% of your money, never spending it, and allowing it to grow over time. And as you create more money, increase that 10% to 15 and to 20% and invest it and get a good investment advisor. Don't put it in mutual funds, because I love what's happening we're seeing this all over the news now about the truth of mutual funds. But I can't give advice, but just find a good advisor and invest really well. But if you can grow your money over time, that's how wealth is really created. And there are some really good investment vehicles out there as well that people can take advantage of. But it's really important that you, as an entrepreneur, that you are taking 10% right off the top and investing it. And anyway, Life's Golden Buckets teaches you the system to follow. It's really easy. So.
Very good. Thanks for sharing that information. Mm-hmm. Well, I also know another side about you, that you are father to 4 children.
I am.
So how did they grow up with you being this international speaker, influencer, and you because I know how my kids are affected by my mindset and the things I'm doing, and I know yours had to be as well. How did you influence them, or how do they perceive you?
Well, it was always through, I say it was more through osmosis. I mean, just kind of being around the house and talking in a certain way and using certain words. I guess it just started to rub off them. But, I took my oldest son to one of my empowerment camps when he was 15, and he loves hockey. He's not a superstar, but he's a good hockey player. And he has, back then he was showing potential. And then he just made the decision one day, I want to pursue hockey and I want to go to high intensity training camps. So at the age of 15, he left home and he went to hockey academies. So he did his schooling and training at these hockey academies. And he's been to 3 of them, one in British Columbia, one in Calgary, Alberta, and another one in Toronto. And now he's playing junior A hockey, and he's just about to finish up his junior career. But he's pursued something, and he's also had ups and downs and challenges along the way, which have given him great life lessons early. And really battling through adversity. He's actually battled through some pretty good adversity. He's got that mindset to go for it, to train hard, and he's very physically fit. And it's also opened him up to this is a career pursuit that he will obviously take, is going to definitely be somewhere involving sports. Whether he goes into media and broadcasting or coaching or scouting, whatever, but it's, sport is his passion. He loves it. Mm-hmm. So he will definitely, and he's very, he has a very good mind for statistics. He remembers statistics really well. Mm. So those are, so he's aware of what his strengths are. My other son's a musician, pursuing career as a musician, and my daughters are both still in high school, but they're probably, one's looking at fashion and design, and the younger one, she's not really sure yet. So, but they both love shopping, so it's always interesting.
Don't we all? So would you say that what you are doing has given them that extra push or extra determination, just having mindsets of successful people? What do you think?
Yeah, they definitely, like human beings model. And, Tony Robbins talks about this, about that, if you just model a successful person, you'll be successful. And it's true. I mean, modeling is another word for copying. Just figure out what they're doing, do it differently, do it better, whatever. Right. So children model parents, and, our kids have seen both parents, be successful in their careers and working hard and pursuing what they love. So they see that. And I think they see me out there. They know what I've done around the world. They're aware of it. They've been to my courses. They see me on stage. And, I guess they just see that, he's done really well, and he's pursued his passion, and he's also supported us really well. So that's what they see. And what it's really interesting now, because when I'm with them, because they're older now, they're like 21. My oldest is going to be 21 soon, 19, 16, and 15. So the conversations are really interesting. Like I was with my daughter the last 4 days. So we went on a little father-daughter trip, and just the conversations are more interesting now, where we talk about mindset, and she's like, yeah, well, it's just, everything's about how you think, Dad, and everything's about how, I can create it in my mind first. So I love listening to her. And, I actually took her to get a reading. She never had a psychic reading done before. So we found this, we were up in Whistler, and we found this Oracle reading store. So we went in, and she had a reading, and she just came out, and she was all like bright eyed, and she kind of got some lights turned on, and the lady told her that she was very courageous and whatnot. So, and she is, she's showing good signs of, stepping into her power. And she definitely has a mindset of, I can do whatever I want. And then we went bungee jumping. So,
wow.
You look at my Facebook page, you'll see her jumping. So,
but when you were talking right now, I was often thinking that maybe we should put more effort into children. I mean, creating courses for children ages 8 to 15, because they're still so impressionable. Wouldn't it be so much easier to create successful, happy people starting at this young age? Like your children, my children, you know, and other personal development teachers' children are probably a little bit of advantage just because of the influence they get at home, but it's not everybody. So did you ever think about doing anything like that for kids, just a program or something like that?
You know, I don't want to just do a program. I'd love to have a actual school that does this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of my dreams, is to actually create a school. The challenge is getting the government and the curriculum to buy into it. I mean, we have to follow the government curriculum, unfortunately. I agree with some of it. I mean, we have to have our English and our maths and our sciences and the basics, but I think it can be done in a way where we can teach kids to empower their minds. We can teach them entrepreneurial skills if that's what they want to pursue, teach them sports. So it's definitely, look, there are schools emerging around the world that are starting to incorporate this type of training, teaching them how to manage money. You know, I mean, this is really starting to come in the news. That's why I did a TED talk on this. So if you go on to, if you go on to YouTube, search Life's Golden Buckets, you'll see my TED Talk. And my talk is about, you know, we've got to educate our children how to manage money properly in school, so it becomes a habit, not something they learn later in life. Like I had to learn how to manage money late in life because I was messing it up, right? So you know, and now I'm pretty strict on what I do. So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it'd be great to see more schools like that. I mean, the school that I have for adults, it could be the same school, just incorporating the basic curriculum. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea to have in the school.
Yeah.
So can you give us kind of like a last advice, something that entrepreneurs can take away and run with it and change something in their businesses and their lives?
Yes, study, learn, and
Yeah.
don't be afraid to take courses on developing yourself. You know, you get such great insight from it on who you are as a person. But you know, the last thing is, I mean, we hear all these cliches. You can do anything you want. You can follow your dreams, all of this. But you have to believe also that, you know, if you have a burning desire inside and you're frustrated because you're not getting the success you want, find a coach and a mentor, somebody who's already done what you've done, and align with them and get the guidance, get the support. I mean, I started to create success in business. I started to work with a coach in Toronto. I worked with Bob. I worked with Dan Sullivan. I've worked with Jack, and I cannot say enough about working with really good coaches. And but make sure they've got a track record. There's a lot of coaches out there that call themselves coaches, but what have they done? Really look into their, you know, credentials and their success and, you know, their financials, and just really see, have they cut the path that you want to go down? Because, you know, if I'm walking through a field that's full of bush and long grass and sticks, and I'm constantly having to cut it, it's going to take me a while to get across the field. But if I follow the guy that's already cut the field, it's going to be a smoother walk, and I'm going to get to my destination quickly. So, you know, that's really all you're doing with a coach. So it's finding the right one that works in your industry and can help you, you know, be the success you deserve to be.
Great advice. And you know what? I agree with you. I wouldn't have made it to here without my coaches either.
Yeah.
You know, I think, and me as a coach, I know I have to be coached. I think every coach needs to be coached. If you don't work on yourself, you can't get anywhere. So coaches and mentors, yes, I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah, and if you're a coach that's listening and you don't have a coach, get a coach. Yeah, you'll be a better coach. Yeah. You will be a better coach, because you know what? You know, I think a lot of coaches get into coaching because they want to help people because it makes them feel good. I'm not good enough. Approval. Believe me, that's why a lot of them are getting into coaching, because they love helping people, and helping people makes you feel good. But you still need a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't clean up your stuff, you can't help anybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad we agree on this one because it's really, really important. So tell me, where can my listeners find you?
Well, if you just search Kieron Sweeney, Kieron Sweeney, you'll find me. So I pop up pretty. There's not a lot of Kieron Sweeney's motivational speakers, and we do work on our SEO. But it's KieronSweeney.com. There's several companies I have, but I'm not going to complicate it with everybody. If you start at KieronSweeney.com, you'll be able to get to me. And my email is Kieron@KieronSweeney.com as well. And I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to come and take some courses in Vancouver, we're going to be expanding to other cities eventually. But right now, we're building our model here, and it's working really well. What's really interesting, Milena? 90% of my clients are women.
Wow, interesting. Yeah.
And I surveyed them, and I'm like, okay, why is this happening? Like, normally in the industry, the training industry, 60% of the clients were women. So it was always a 60-40 split. So if you look across the board, that's generally what it is. But I asked them, they said, one of my clients, her name's Jill Prescott, an amazing woman, spiritual badass. That's what her title is.
Yes, I heard about her. Yes.
You heard about her?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, she's really coming on the scene here in Vancouver. But, and that's because she came to my academy, and this has all happened since last May.
Yeah.
Like, she was not known, and now she's like out there. So, and it's got nothing to do with me. It's got to do with her because she's implementing what I teach her.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, I asked her, and she says, because we want structure, we want systems, and we want accountability, and you give us all of that. And so I started to ask other women about that, and they're like, yes, that's what we want. We want structure, system, accountability. Mm-hmm. And so it works. So I don't know what guys want, but
well, maybe you can survey that 10% and see what they say. But yeah, I know women are very on board, very into education and personal development. My clients are majority women as well. So it seems like we are taking, I'm not going to say taking the lead, but definitely more. We are more today than ever before, I think, in the human history right now, aware that we need to lead, we need to step up, we need to do something in this world. And I'm so proud of women out there that they are doing it. Really, really proud.
No, I agree. And look, if women ran the world, we would have world peace and we wouldn't have hunger.
Yeah, I agree.
And the world is messed up because it's been run by egocentric men, and it's slowly changing. I think in North America, it's definitely changing a lot faster. But we have a lot of work to do to allow our women to step up and encourage them to be leaders and work in harmony with them versus suppressing them and putting them down and not allowing them to succeed. But women have to just say, enough of that. It's not a man's world anymore. It's a woman's world, and we're going to make it a woman's world. And it's about like, it's taken a long time to get real equality. And there's certain parts of the world where women are still oppressed, and that has to stop too. And I think the more women rise up in stature and power, and I don't mean power in controlling power, I mean power in just power from within, it's going to influence, it'll have a ripple effect around the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And harmony is the good word that you use. It's really working in harmony. And I'm always happy when I meet men that are supporting women on their journey to leadership. And thank you for being that kind of man, because that's what we need. That's what we need.
Well, we need more men to do it. So
yes,
hopefully they'll step up as well. Now, there's a lot of good men out there. Let's not put down men. I mean, I've started a men's group too, because I want to work with men more closely. So, Connor Beaton's doing a great job here with Man Talks, and I've actually got a TV show starting on this men's whole movement. So, and I'm writing a book on it too. So.
That's very interesting, because it seems like that we are recognizing that if we don't tell men what we want, then how will they know? I've actually put up a men's program as well. It's so funny that we're talking about this now, because I said, let's tell them what we want.
Yeah.
What kind of men do we want? Because how will they know if women don't talk about it. So it's great. I think we need to work on all fronts, right? Working with men, working with women, bringing us all together. So thank you for doing that. This is really, really good.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for this conversation. Lots of value, lots of insight. So I'm very happy that you were here with me today, and wishing you all the best, lots of success. I will definitely post a link to your website in my podcast description. And thank you so much for the conversation.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. All right. Have an awesome day.
Thank you. You too.